In this video, we are going to talk about comments. How using this will make our code easy to understand for other users. By writing code, we want to explain it to the system to perform specific action. So alert will display the message hello world in an alert box. So this is how we communicate with the system. So system will see this code and execute the result, and here we can see the message hello world. So we write code for system to understand it. However, we should not be just caring about the system. You should also care about the person who is going to read this code in future. Sometimes you are working in a team and you implement some feature and they want to know what you are doing with this code. So here in future somebody is reading this and doesn't understand what this piece of code is doing. What if we can just leave a note here explaining what this code does? Something like what this code does. It displays a hello world message in alert box. So after writing this, if we refresh our page, we will see it is throwing an error saying unexpected identifier. And the reason for that is because this is not a valid piece of code for JavaScript. So to leave a note or a comment in JavaScript, we use 2/. So whenever we use 2/, the system will understand that this piece of code is not for them to understand it. It's for human to understand what this code is doing. And whenever your line starts with 2/, it means it is an inline comment. So inline comment is only for one line of code. And if we refresh this page, now the code started working, because as soon as system will see these two lines of code, they will understand this is for user and this is for me to interpret the code and display some output. You can also use inline comment for commenting next to the code. Something like I want to write some message here, I can just use inline comment by following 2/, and say something like test comment. But there are certain scenarios where you'd want to add multi-line comments. And to write multi-line comment in JavaScript, we use special syntax, and that is /*, and we can write something like this. And to end this, because we have started it here, we need it to end, otherwise it will continue. So to end this, we use star and /. Now we can write other piece of code like alert. So here we are saying alert hello world, then we have multi-line comment, and we are saying alert multi-line. So we will see two alert here, and we can see that. So there is a saying that we should always write code that human understand, because system can understand everything in a single line also, but we as a human cannot understand that. And that is why we use indentation, like spacing and stuff like that. So here let's see an example. I can go ahead, create a variable called name that has a value of aria. And in the same line, I can define another variable called full name. And when we do this, it becomes harder for us to understand this code, but for system, it doesn't make a difference, because for them, it will be the same thing. You can go access the variable name and you'll see aria. If you'll access full name, you'll see aria stack. But when we write code for ourselves, we want to make it readable. And in this way, it becomes much more readable. So we should always write code that human understand, not the code the system understands. So this code that we write is for system, but we use comment to explain it to human. Comments are very helpful when you want to explain it to user what you're doing with the code. You should always explain your code whenever you think it can be a bit tricky or something. So we learned about why we should use comments and how it can make your code readable and make it easy for people to understand your code. And to write comment, we use two different kind of comment. One is called inline comment that starts with 2/. You can also use inline comment to comment specific line of code. And there is another kind of comment, multi-line comment, that starts with /*, star mark, and ends with star mark and //.